What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of Connection Interruption. It's your boy DJ Tay Boogie, and it's being brought to you by our lovely sponsors. Frisch's, and it's going down. If you haven't been to Frisch's, you need to go. The sliders and everything are on point, especially if you're gaming. It's the perfect thing to accompany you while you're gaming. And big shout out to the team game day. It is about to go down because tonight it's going to be something special. And I got to bring my brothers from another mother in, Brian and my man Mark. What's good, fellas?
How we doing?
Man,
What's happening?
Slow motion.
Yeah, like you said, tonight's special night. We have a guest from Team Frisch, and that is Scoot, the manager of Team Frisch. Bring him in here. How you doing?
Hello. Doing just fine.
I like the lights in the background. They're looking good.
Oh, thank you.
But that like MLG kind of look to them.
You know, I'm being real nosy right now. What is that poster behind you?
It's Naruto versus Sasuke.
That's fly. Extra fly. I like that.
This is one of those moments where I go, I have no idea.
Yeah. Hey, as you can see behind me, I'm renovating the game room, so excuse the mess.
You're getting there. You're getting there, Tay. You're getting there.
Oh, I got to.
Getting there.
I got my steering wheel.
I understand completely. I just redid this office in the spring, and I put new floors in, new paint, and redid everything. Got rid of everything in here. We used to use it as a storage room, and we put in new desk, a whole new PC setup. It was a lot of work, but it's worth it.
The whole 9 yards. So, if we just want to like jump right into it, or do you guys want to talk about what we're playing right now?
Oh, we can go with what we're playing because I've been on a roll this week, baby. I've been on a roll.
On a roll. No. All right.
You go first, Tay. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Tay, since you've been playing a bunch.
Yeah. So I went into the archive. I was playing Friday the 13th online, and I've been on
servers. Are the servers still up for that?
No, I don't think so. I've been playing the story mode, so. Yeah, I don't like playing online because people like to cheat. I don't know the maps that well, so yeah. And then I'm on an 8-game winning streak in Madden. Yes, I've got my magic back, and also I'm on a.
How many games did you lose before you started that winning streak again, though? Because you were on a downward spiral there for a while, right?
Yeah, I was on a downward spiral. I lost about 6. And now I'm up 8. So,
all right.
And then
if you're on a hot streak like that, is there like a pregame ritual that you do to keep the juices flowing, or what's up?
Yes. My pre-game ritual. They'll tell you, I have to have my onion rings, and I have to have.
I was like, the rings are coming.
Yeah, I have to have my Coke, and that I usually go with Funyuns or Fritos or something.
Onions.
Yes. Yeah, and outside of those two, I've been playing baseball, so I've been getting better with the baseball. I haven't lost yet, but my games haven't been top tier. So that's about it.
So I was trying to find if that game is still available on, like, if the servers are still up. I don't see anything. I figured I'd take a quick peek.
Yeah. I looked too. I don't know. I love that game, and then there were legal issues and whatever else that went on with it. But yeah, for me, it's just been Rocket League. I do want to check out the new Minecraft update. I haven't gotten to see too much of that. However, I am intrigued. Minecraft is a classic, so you always gotta kind of have to revisit that. Ryan, what have you been playing?
I've been bouncing around. Pac-Man 99 still on the list. I can't seem to get away from it. I did get my first victory royale in solo modes last weekend.
Sweet.
It was the weekend before last. Towards the end of season 6 on Fortnite. I actually joked that Team Frisch need to sign me up, like, because we know I'm not great at shooters, but I really do enjoy them. And I played some Call of Duty Warzone. Kind of got back into that a little bit.
I still don't know how I feel about Warzone. Like like there's parts of it I really enjoy, and then other parts that I'm just like it's beyond me. But then I went back and started playing some more of that Retromania Wrestling because they've got a DLC coming out fairly soon. And then I finally took some pictures on new Pokemon Snap. I felt like I was neglecting that game. I was going to play. I was so excited to play that at launch, and I just haven't jumped into it.
So how's that coming along with the Pokemon Snap? Like,
it's okay. I don't want to say like that I don't like it. I don't want to say that I love it. It's kind of like right in the middle of the road for me. It's very much on the rails. Like you kind of don't really have much of an option as to what you're going to see when. So that kind of makes it hard to judge really what I want to get out of it. I don't know that it should have been a $60 purchase.
Wow.
One of those when you're like, oh man, I spent 60 on this, but Nintendo doesn't discount their games very often. So the first party stuff, if you want it and you want to play it, you're usually paying 60 for it. So that's kind of where I was at.
It usually retains value pretty well too. Like even older Nintendo titles, like the hard copies, there's still a fair amount used.
Yeah, and you get a decent trade-in value if you buy the physical. You can see 30 plus in trade-in at your local retailer if you're someone that trades in. But I don't ever anymore.
I'd much rather collect than trade in.
Yeah, I have a giant Tupperware container just like in my closet filled with old consoles or games. It's mostly just Xbox 360 games, but yeah, I just refuse to get rid of. But I definitely feel the collection side on that.
Yeah.
But so,
Scoot, what are you playing? Yeah.
I've gotten sucked back into World of Warcraft. TBC came out last week, and I feel like I've been putting in 14 to 16 hour days since. I can't get enough of it. I just hit level 70 today, and it's been a nice break from shooters only for the last couple of years. Other than that, I'm still keeping up with Call of Duty. We've started branching out into COD Mobile a little bit more. That and a little bit of like Apex Legends, Warzone, obviously. Like those are probably the big 3 or 4 that are really taking up a lot of my time these days.
Now, do you personally play COD Mobile?
I do. I was on the World Championship team last year, and I'm on it this year again as well.
Very nice. So do you? I don't play much COD Mobile. I just play COD. So do you connect your controller to your phone, or are you straight up playing like right on the phone?
I play on a iPad.
Okay.
So it's a little bit bigger screen than playing on a phone. Obviously, you can play with more digits instead of having to play like a 4-finger claw. I play a 5-finger claw. It's kind of complicated at first until you get the hang of it, and then it's just second nature. I'm actually probably more accurate on the glass than I am on a controller.
Wow.
I could see that, yeah. I've heard of people like Bluetoothing their controllers in on, their phones or iPads or whatnot. I wasn't sure if like that was kind of like the scene, you know what I mean? Like if like that was like the meta for all the
There's definitely a lot of controller support as well as like the emulators. So like you could emulate it as if it was a PC title.
Now, is that allowed, like competition wise?
Competitively, last year, it was phone only. You could play tablet or phone. This year, it's still kind of up in the air. Usually, it's open-ended until about stage 3, stage 4, and then they start like limiting what platforms you can use. Emulators are banned outright, but controller support's kind of a gray area.
It's weird that they wait till like the later stages, though. You think they'll just be like, all right, this is it, because like if you're a controller player, it's like, well, I made it to stage 3, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to play on the glass. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Last year, we qualified for stage 3, and we're prepping to play it. Then they changed it to phone only, so I had to learn phone, which is a completely different control scheme. Then like 3 days before we were supposed to play, they changed it back, and you could use just about anything. So there, I'd wasted like 2 weeks just trying to learn how to play on a phone.
Right.
And then we get there like day of ready to play, and then they moved the qualifier to noon on a Tuesday, and we had 3 people that had work that day, so we just didn't play it. But we peaked last year at, I think, 62nd in North America.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that alone. That's a major feat.
Salute.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So do you want to tell us a little bit more about like Team Frisch and like the vision behind it and stuff like that?
So Team Frisch started out as a concept that we were running under the brand name Merc, which that's still like an active group, but Team Frisch is definitely like a smaller, refined version of that, if you will, which is the idea behind it was content through competition. So everybody involved in the project is either a former professional, like salaried player in some title. But definitely like less so in Call of Duty specifics. So we have some Overwatch professionals, some Fortnite professionals, Paladins, if you guys remember that game from High Res. And we've got a couple of PUBG Mobile guys that have been consulting as we switched over to COD Mobile. But, I was a former COD pro. One of our other guys was a former COD pro. But other than that, it's mostly hero shooters guys that are making the transition. So we went into the project thinking, everybody on paper is a pretty high caliber player. So theoretically, we should be able to do like the smaller tournaments, the less like invitationals or qualifiers, and not only be able to perform well, but also have a fun time doing it while also creating good content about it. So, for instance, to give you an example, COD Mobile, we had stage 1 last weekend, and we qualified for stage 2 already, just off of the first weekend. But there's 3 more weeks left to qualify, so we're going to take those 3 extra weeks and do challenges in a World Championship qualifier. So we're going to probably have a video out of us doing like snipers only in World Championship qualifiers, maybe like a shotgun only or knives only maybe. We're still up in the air on the project, but like that's the idea behind it, is to go into these serious competitive settings and use whatever raw talent we have to not only be competitive, but to do goofy stuff while doing it.
Right.
No, I got a question before you get too far into it, because I know you were talking about playing on mobile, and my daughter plays on her phone. So do you know anyone? Have you seen anyone use the backbone? Like,
yeah, so the backbone is the controller setup that was sponsored by 100 Thieves, right?
Yeah.
I've not used one personally. I have seen them on streams a handful of times. I think, it's rumors, but like 100 Thieves has to know something that the general public doesn't to jump into that kind of a partnership, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So I could definitely see it becoming more prevalent. Maybe it's one of the few like grandfathered in controller supported things that you can use in the World Championship. I'm not sure, but I think more accessibility is always a good thing.
Yeah, because I was like this close to buying one. I was like, I was like, let's wait till we talk to Scoot and see what he says. Because I really didn't know, because like I'm so used to, like you say, playing on a bigger screen. So
I've heard nothing but good things out of them, from like a build quality wise and ease to set up. Is it for me? Maybe not, but if it's for somebody else, then I'm all for it.
Gotcha.
They are not even in stock on Amazon.
Yeah, I was looking too. I was like, where can we even get them right now? Because I haven't been able to track one down for a while.
I'm not in the market, but I looked it up.
I think like tech of any sort right now is scarce.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, that's interesting for sure. Now, there was I just now thought of this. There was a super like controversial tweet from Dr. Disrespect a couple weeks ago, and you might know where I'm going from this. Do you know where I'm going for this? About his like he basically said that mobile gaming isn't serious, but at the same time you have all the support for it. So it's like, how do you not take it seriously?
Well, what came out of that is Ferg, who is a premier mobile YouTuber. I think he made his real big break with COD Mobile early on, and him and Dr. Disrespect had an '80s throwdown 1v1 where they played a kill race in COD Mobile, and I think Ferg beat him by like 40 some kills.
Ooh.
And gave him like extra time on the
So
call.
because he got stomped, he was like, "Yeah, this isn't real stuff." Is that where that?
And no, it happened before.
Or was
he
that
said
before? Okay.
And then because of that, Ferg was like, "Oh yeah, well, let's see if you can play
Yeah.
mobile kind of thing."
It was put your money where your mouth is kind of thing. And
Gotcha.
I expected it to be a tough matchup for Doc. I don't think anybody expected him to get gapped in kills as bad as he did.
Yeah, no one expected him to play like I do, is what you're saying. I get it.
You said it, not me.
No, I get it. No, as I've said, I'm not very good at shooters, but I do enjoy playing them. When you're talking about like being a COD pro, because you obviously have experienced that on a daily basis. If someone is looking to get into doing this like full time and they want to be a professional, gamer playing, FPSs or whatever, how much time in a day should the average person, and I know it differs depending on your situation, but what do you think average time they should spend playing in a day in order to prepare?
Well, that's the beauty of how esports has developed. Back when I started, I signed my first COD contract in 2008. I was 16 years old.
Wow.
It was, or no, I was younger than that actually. Regardless, back then, you didn't have matchmaking. Everything was private servers. If you wanted to scrim, you had to shell out money for a server. You had to send that information to somebody else so that they could join it. A 4-hour scrim block, nowadays is 4 hours worth of scrims. A 4-hour scrim block back then was like 3 hours of games and an hour of just coordinating, getting everybody into the same lobby. Practice is way more efficient these days. Back when I first started competing, I would go to school. I'd get up for school at like 6 a.m., but I was going to sleep after a scrim block at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So I was getting like 2 hours of sleep at home, however many I could fit in at school, and then get right back into the grind. And we would scrim daily, 2 scrim blocks. When scrim block is usually about 4 hours, so we'd do about 8 hours worth of scrims. You factor in maybe like an hour or two of warm up and pubbing back then. So it can get away from you. Nowadays, with the way that rank systems are more prevalent in games, you don't have to hope you find a server with good players in it. It's honestly what drove me to be such a big advocate for taking ranked seriously. I think if our modern players took ranked as seriously as they would scrims, you could just get great practice at the press of a button. You wouldn't have to go the old style of, hey, let's find a team to scrim against, because everybody takes it seriously. What you still see that to some extent with like Counter-Strike Global Offensive with like ESEA pugs. Those are taken insanely serious comparatively to like the regular matchmaking. But I would say, long-winded, but to get back to the question, I think nowadays, if you were to be able to dedicate maybe like an hour a day to aim training, an hour a day of VOD review, and like 1 scrim block, you're in a good spot. And I would tell anybody looking to get into Call of Duty specifically, look at your local college scene. College Call of Duty is a great gateway to challengers. It's a great gateway to the CDL. It's somewhere where you can play, get noticed, maybe even get some of your school paid for.
Nice.
Yeah, we had NKU Esports on a previous episode, so we've talked a little bit about that with them. Just they're doing what Rocket League and Overwatch right now, and get ready to expand into League of Legends. But yeah, there's a lot of colleges out there offering scholarship money for people to play esports. So it's a cool scene.
Yeah, one of our players, Cosby, is actually the head coach for Tulsa for Call of Duty.
Very cool.
Sweet.
See, Call of Duty keeps messing up though with their rank system. It like either never comes out during the life of the game, or if it does come out, it's like barely even ranked. Meanwhile, matchmaking seems to be more ranked than in the actual ranked mode, which I keep experiencing every year. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, and yeah, I mean that's my biggest complaint as far as the COD competitive scene is COD is kind of shooting themselves in the foot as far as keeping the competitive scene alive at a lower level.
I agree wholeheartedly. And this is not new to Call of Duty as a franchise. See, I play the reason I am no longer a Call of Duty pro or as active at that level. Back when I played on PC for Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare 2 comes out and they did away with all PC support. The game came out on PC, but it was just you had no way to scrim, you had no way to compete. So Call of Duty effectively died in Modern Warfare 2 on PC. It wasn't until Black Ops 4 came out with Blackout that it started to get a bit of a resurgence. So to think that the franchise and Activision is hanging the community out to dry, I'm no stranger to that. I lost my career over it. That's why I had to transition to other titles like Battle Royales and Counter-Strike and Quake for a little bit. Like you had to go to where the money was and where the scene was, and Call of Duty just abandoned everybody back then. But yeah, like you hit the nail on the head. Is the rank system is just not a rank system. It's time investment system is what it is.
Yeah.
Is that an opportunity for EA and Battlefield to kind of swoop in to get that competitive scene and kind of take it over here with this new Battlefield that they're saying is going to have no single player story at all? It's just going to be multiplayer focused.
Well, I wouldn't say that it would take that same spot, but it could definitely take a spot and definitely pull some of the market share from modern shooters away from Call of Duty. Battlefield at one point in time, whether anybody wants to acknowledge it or not, Battlefield at one point almost killed the Call of Duty franchise. Call of Duty was going off into space when Battlefield had one of the most successful launches they've ever had.
Yeah.
We're very far from those days with the player base that Battlefield 5 was able to retain, but Battlefield has always been dear to my heart just for the fact that 2142, Battlefield 2, those days, that was what got me into competing, was playing pickup ladders back then, and back then it was like 6v6 on like a small 16-person map. It works, it functions, but I don't think Battlefield was ever made with a competitive light intended.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like, I would say EA would never be able to take that competitive spot, but I think they would easily be able to pull the people who are playing COD more casually, such as the matchmaking or even the Battle Royale. And I think we're kind of on the cusp of history repeating itself, and what you were talking about before, where Battlefield took over. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have watched the trailer, but the 2042, it has me a little nervous because some of like the future stuff I'm always wary about. I'm like, it sounds overpowered.
Right.
Also, I'm like, okay, now there's a giant tornado, but whatever. I don't know what the tornado is about. We'll figure that out eventually, I guess.
I'm supremely excited having watched the trailer. I'm the complete other side of the spectrum. Like, I'm all for it.
I am all for it, but just me being like somewhat skeptical, I'm just nervous. I'm like, okay, like, I got super excited for Cyberpunk and stuff, and it's just, too many times where I'm super excited and just get disappointed. So I'm excited, but I'm wary. Like I want to see the gameplay. What is it, June 13th or something like that? 14th? Like it's next week. I want to see the
Yeah,
gameplay,
next
and I
week.
want a beta. And
Yeah,
after
they
that,
announced the beta's coming, right?
I don't think so.
I've heard
Oh.
rumors that it'll be the end of the month.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
rumors. And then on the other thing, why history's going to repeat itself, apparently Call of Duty is about to have a really bad launch this year with their current game. There was that dev that we talked about on the first or second podcast that we had, where he just said like, yeah, this game it's not ready. Like they had a lot of trouble because of the pandemic and other things like that. To where I have a feeling like them going back to World War II, for one, if it's true, it's too early. Like we just like how many World War II CODs can we have?
Exactly.
Especially this many, years from the last. And also if the game's just buggy and not ready, then I could see everyone just taking their $60, heading over to EA, and then COD's gonna have a bad year.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this trailer, I mean, I know it's no gameplay, in this trailer, but it's pretty awesome looking. I think they're just depending on how they put it together, it could be a good one to play. It looks like VG247.com is saying alpha in July and beta closer to release, and October 22nd is the projected release date for this one. So
I'm just sitting here, I'm like shocked because he just pulled the guy's throat out. I'm
right.
like, wow. Like I've been a Battlefield player, but like my beef with Call of Duty is every time I get on and I get into that mindset, like, hey, I really want to get down and play. It takes like 3 hours to 4 hours to do updates. I can't stay.
Yeah.
Like I did it the other day. I was like, my a couple of my friends called me, hey, jump on. We're about to get on Call of Duty. And I was like, hey, it's downloading. So I'm thinking they already downloaded in the background. Then it said 4 hours. I was like, okay, I'll just watch tonight. Like,
yeah,
it's always been a thing with Call of Duty.
Well, that's Activision's current model, right? It's
Yeah,
like you can't play anything else if you can't install anything else.
right.
I mean, the games are just gigantic for no reason.
Yeah, they're huge. What 110? I want to say it was 110 gigs.
Yeah.
I had to buy an SSD just for Warzone and Cold War, and both of them together come out to like 340 gigabytes.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of space it takes up. I was looking at that the other day too. Just couldn't believe how much space it was going to take.
Well, as far as the update thing goes too, and I've realized that being both a console and a PC player is that my console it'll take it like hours to update. But if I hop on my computer, especially if I have, which typically the hard drive in your computer is going to be better than the one that's in your console. So its writing speed is so much faster, and so is the download speed. The update will finish 30 minutes max versus on console hours. So that's another thing that I've noticed, that my friends have noticed. So I feel like for console players, those large updates are a lot harsher.
Yeah, Modern Warfare on my PC is 188 gigs.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that would take you over 24 hours to probably download on,
and then
like all at once on the PlayStation.
Black Ops 4 is 142 gigs.
I'm surprised you even have that installed still.
Well, I was just about to say I haven't taken it off.
You just told on yourself. You need to clean your PC.
Oh no, that's fine. Like there's plenty of games on here that everybody would be like, "Why is this still on there?" But I have way too many games installed at one time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's somewhat you kind of have to, but yeah, I think Call of Duty's in trouble this year, but we'll see. I mean, I don't even think we'll hear about COD by the time we might have an alpha for Battlefield before we even see a trailer from Activision.
Yeah.
Is Activision even participating in E3? Are they?
Find out. I'm sure they are.
I mean, there were some that aren't.
No way they're not.
the Call of Duty World War II Vanguard. Yeah, they announced 3 days ago they are.
Okay, yeah.
So
what's this COD Mobile announcement? I missed that.
Yeah, we got a beef with E3.
They just said we aren't big enough yet. It's fine. We get
It's
it.
all right.
Like we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But I mean,
No.
I clicked on one of these E3 links, and first thing I see is Call of Duty 2021 in trouble ?
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions, I think, with Activision and their model. But I think that ultimately, like, if the competitive scene stays solid, I think they're okay, right? I mean, there's going to be a ton of events, especially as we get back to normal and start having more LAN events and things like that. I think we'll see it pick up a little bit.
Now, go ahead.
No, you're fine, Tay. I mean, my biggest question mark for Activision was like the Toys for Bob, going into Warzone, because they had done Skylanders before. I don't know if any of you guys have played that at all. Like the Toys to Life game, and I was like, how is that company going to come in and kind of work and make it work? But Scootin, as far as just the competitive scene in general, as it starts to pick up, what do you see Team Frisch hopping on board to try to get involved in there?
Well, as of now, we've got a LAN event coming up later this month in Kansas City. I believe we've got one player going out to participate in that. There's another talk of a LAN in North Carolina in August that we're working out the logistics behind, of maybe sending a player or two to that. We've got the COD Mobile World Championship that's running out for the next 3 months maybe. We've got Stage 1 ending at the end of June, as well as Stage 2 starting up shortly after. But, outside of those 2 or 3 events, we've got weekly Cold War League matches that we've got participation in, as well as we've started ramping up for more Warzone competitive opportunities. With we've got invited to the Warzone scrims, as well as we're looking at getting into like Z Leagues and some other apps that are in the middle of launching right now.
All right. Now, quick question. For somebody that's young, I know like kids these days, like middle school, high school, college, like just getting into it, like what steps can they take and what should they be prepared for getting into professional eStream?
So for professional, like just generalized or like a specific title, or
yeah, just general. It's just like, okay, I want to do esports. Like, what can they do to prepare getting into that? Like, okay, when do I take it serious? What games should I look into getting into to be on a professional level? And what's the age range to be considered a professional player?
Well, I believe Fortnite set a pretty good precedent with, for the Fortnite World Cup, as well as their weekly cash cups and things of that nature. I believe the cutoff, like the age minimum, is 13 years old. Okay. So I would say if you're 12, 13, 14 in that bracket, and you're wanting to get into esports, just hone your craft. I mean, a lot of it's going to be mental blocks that you're going to have. Every player that I know has gone through them at least at some point in their career. So if you can knock it out early, you're good. And mental blocks in that sense of being be able to self-actualize and take blame for your own mistakes. That's the easiest way to improve quickly. If I go into a new game, I completely forget anything that I have in any other title leading up to it, because what works in one element might not work there. Right. And a lot of that's just going to be, you go into it open-minded, you understand, like you don't have the full understanding yet. Not to say that you won't get it, but be open with what your own limitations are and self-analyze a lot of it. I would say, look for small competitions to kind of warm up to that competitive environment rather than just trying to jump right into the deep end. But our grassroots scene is, well, I mean, it's not non-existent, but it is not healthy right now. Back when I started out, I was playing in 6-7 different leagues at once. So I'd have a league match every day of the week. That's how many different like forms of competition there was back then. Nowadays, it's like you have huge, big money prize pools, but they're usually invitational only. So if you want to get into competing at a smaller level, you really have to hunt for opportunities. But I with that said, you can still take your matchmaking seriously, take your ranked modes seriously, look for opportunities to build a team that plays together and just see where you go. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of it is trial and error, even to this day, of just, I'm going to play with a group and see what we can do, what we can make happen. And if it doesn't work out, then, you got to make the decision that's better for you and what you want.
Gotcha.
So when you started putting together the roster for Team Frisch, how did you go about, who you were selecting and kind of, did you have to kind of try out and have people work together and see if they fit, or how did you guys go about that?
Yeah, we had a handful of roster changes before we solidified what starting five we were going with, and a lot of that, like all the players that have been involved in the project from day one, even the ones that we've ended up having to swap out, I've known at least at a somewhat personal level for quite some time. And that's from my time talent scouting for other organizations and stuff like that, of players that I've been keeping eyes on. And that's how any team or like group or work dynamic, it not everybody meshes, right? So, you can take 4 or 5 really fantastic players, but if they don't have personalities that mesh well together, you're not going to have the same results that you would with maybe some lesser mechanically gifted players, but great supporting personalities. So yeah, we had a handful of roster swaps early, but since we've had that solidified with our current lineup, we've not had any issues whatsoever. But when it comes to like talent scouting and stuff like that, a lot of it comes back to getting noticed through small forms of competition. Overwatch League, before that kind of became a thing, there was small grassroots scene for Overwatch, and that's where I noticed a lot of these players from, as well as Fortnite back before it exploded pre-World Cup. There was smaller competitions. You could keep eyes on developing talent, and a lot of it is self-branding as well. Like if you can market yourself well as a player, or you could do something that's going to stand out but not in a negative light, makes people remember you, especially talent scouts. If you perform well and you have a catchy name and your branding is good, we're going to remember you, and we'll keep eyes and see if you're improving or declining, or if you're just stagnating. But stagnating doesn't necessarily mean that you're performing poorly. It just, you don't have the right environment to flourish.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Now, I got a question I wanted to pull out the hat. Now, one person, you can only pick one person that you can play head on, one-on-one in any game. Who would it be? I had to stop him. I just had to see who we play. Like, who would you play? Like, because I know, like, you've been at it for a while. Like, who would be that golden game? Like, I really want to play this person. This would be like history. Like, after this, I can quit gaming.
I honestly, like, I'm not that great at Quake. I'm not that great at Diabolical, which is the more modern innovation of it. But I would really like to play Rafa. Yeah. He's Team Liquid Quake Pro. He's the best that ever did it. I think he's by far the best mechanical player that also has the smartest game sense that I've ever seen in an individual. The way that he can read a map and just punish. He's like a chess master on a Quake Arena map. Like he's thinking 15 moves ahead. I've never seen anything like it. So I would love to just get stomped into the ground by that
guy. You wouldn't even try. Like, let's go. Ahead.
Oh, I would try, awesome. But it would look like I wasn't trying.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty dope. It's like, because I talk to a lot of kids all the time. They always ask them like, "Hey, how can I be a part of a team? How can I get into professional esports and everything?" That's why I'm glad we got you on, because a couple of them keep blowing up my phone. So it's like, hey, yeah, okay, I asked this question. I'm like, hey, jump on and ask the question.
I mean, with the transition to more collegiate opportunities for esports, I think there's definitely becoming more of an avenue. But a lot of it is still like the old days of just trial and error. I mean, if you've got a group of friends, like it's better to play together and grow together than it is to just continuously team hop until you find the perfect spot.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking for a team to carry me and whatever. Let's be real. No, I mean, it seems like, because I've played competitively in FIFA, and it seems like they're very, very similar as far as just kind of giving the time and dedicating to the craft a little bit. But when you're looking at putting a team of 4 or 5 players together, and you need people of different abilities, like as far as support or DPS, kind of that, if we want to use those terms, how do you look at those different abilities and kind of piece it all together?
Well, even in shooters, there are roles, even if the game doesn't necessarily have a role. You've got your entry fragger. That's your first guy in. He's usually the pinpoint accurate, good at flicking. If he dies, he dies. That's fine. He's an entry fragger. He's supposed to. He can at least give information back. So it's somebody that's got good comms, but also good mechanical skill. You have your support players. Even though there might not be classes, like thinking Counter-Strike, for instance, right. Your support player is the guy that's throwing that flashbang for your entry fragger, so he doesn't have to do an extra animation. Then you have your lurker, who's like off on the other end of the map waiting to backstab somebody, and so on and so forth. So a lot of that is really just break down to a mix of personality traits. Like, a lot of people can't stand to not be the star player, and that's a terrible habit to be in. A lot, I see it a lot in kids that might be the best in their town or the best at their school, but that doesn't mean anything on a national stage.
Right.
So you need people that fit their roles, both personality and mechanically wise. A support player is usually a lot more laid back, more whatever it takes to win. Lurker is, probably more often than not is a more lack of a better term, selfish player, is that he plays to his own strengths rather than the team's. Not to say that can't also lead to a team victory. Star player is just overall mechanically, gifted. They're usually the one putting in the most time to be the best, but they're also the one that's bringing in the results. With those come ego. Ego is usually an issue that you have to snip in the bud early. Otherwise, that could be volatile to the overall team dynamic. But I mean, I would love for to talk about the same topic 10 years from now when esports teams have on team psychologists and things of that nature, because I feel like we will be there eventually. Is in the same way that we see traditional sports, they have basically team-wide mediators to deal with issues within the team itself. And that's just personality clashes and things of that nature.
Does it really get that bad? Like, with the
it definitely can. Yeah. I mean, a toxic team environment could take a 4-hour scrim block and turn it into 6 hours of everybody just yelling at each other. And everybody went into that 4-hour scrim block losing 2 extra hours of their time somehow. and they've gotten worse instead of better because now they're resenting each other. They didn't get anything done in the scrim that worked towards overall beneficial, progress. So I'm very I've been in it long enough that I'm very no nonsense about it these days. If a player does have a conflict, then we'll work through it as best we can. I'll give you what shots I can, but there's way too many hungry talent for me to deal with a prima donna at this point in my career. Right. I wish every player the best of luck, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of imagine like hanging out with somebody from anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, if not more, every day. And eventually you kind of get that friction, and it just takes a really good team to be like, hey, you know what? We need to take a break today, or hey, like, we need to cut this and just put in some work. Essentially was what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, the esports as a whole from a team dynamic is, the greater good, if you will. It's very much so, I might sacrifice something so that overall the team can succeed. And I've done that at points in my career as well. Like I've moved myself to the bench when I was underperforming because it wasn't good for the team, me still being on the starting roster. And that's part of, esports, that's part of traditional sports. The slumps happen. It just got the bad juju. I mean, it's like, Tay with Madden. You had to get your mojo back.
Yeah, that bad juju is nothing to play with. Like, and on a lighter note, because I know, like, I haven't really been in the same room because of COVID. But like, what is the go? Because you asked me earlier, like, what is my ritual before I do in the game? What is your go-to snack, and what is your go-to thing off the Frisch's menu when gaming?
My go-to snack, I'm a big beef jerky guy. I like beef jerky. It sustains you, and it's easy to eat, and it's not very messy. It meets a lot of criteria. But with my favorite thing on the Frisch's menu, man, I'm all about those onion rings, dude. I'm onion ring gang for life.
Winner!
Yes.
Everybody who's never been to Frisch's is gonna think that the only thing they have on their menu is onion rings. Like if they're watching the show and they've never been there for whatever reason, like they're gonna be like, "What?"
I wouldn't say that like it's a bad thing that everybody talks about onion rings. So that's how good they are.
Oh, they are. They are.
They're so notable.
I'm just not a huge onion rings fan in general. I just rather have French fries all day.
That's fair too. Their French fries are pretty killer too.
We should throw it up. Do a this or that. Look at that.
Oh,
onion rings or fries, this or that.
Now, I know Ryan usually asks, like, so when snacking and eating during gaming, do you play with a different controller and a keyboard, or is it the same one?
It's the same one. I'm relatively clean though. I wipe my stuff down at least once a week. And I'd say it's either every Friday, every Saturday. Like I'm sweeping, vacuuming. Like this whole office gets cleaned at least once a week. And that's like awesome. Carrying out empty cans.
When you're done at your place, come on over.
Well, I've got two big dogs that shed a fair amount, so wood floors and that it's got to keep everything clean.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I have a teenager, so we'll just say that there's one corner that y'all can't see over here. That every time I look over there, I'm like, oh, come on, man, like, not again. As we get ready to wrap up the show, and we haven't done this with a guest before, so we are gonna do some this or that. If you're game, I've got some good ones.
All right,
you game? Yeah,
yeah, I'm game.
All right,
I won't back down from a challenge.
All right, cool.
Oh,
here we go. All right,
shots fired.
Marilyn Monroe or Madonna?
Madonna.
All right. Green tea or herbal tea?
Ooh. Green tea, I think.
Do you screen your phone calls or do you answer them no matter who's calling?
I don't answer no matter who's calling.
Wow. Wow.
That's awesome. That's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not answering.
I haven't talked on the phone in probably like a year and a half.
Yeah. I think I've done video calls with you when we've talked like via Discord. So it's like,
yeah,
like,
I mean, I don't really count that.
Yeah. If anybody needs you, it's like Discord. We're good.
Yeah. Discord me or a text. Like I'm not going to talk to anybody else for any other reason.
Okay.
That makes sense. All right. Are you a chili with beans or no beans kind of guy?
With beans.
All right. This is a good one for as someone who's a manager of an esports team. Mend fences or burn bridges?
I'll take the diplomatic approach. Mend fences because it takes twice as long to build bridges that you've burnt.
All right.
You can definitely bite yourself in the butt if you burn bridges too willy-nilly.
All right. So on that same token, are you a peacemaker or a troublemaker?
I'm probably more of a troublemaker.
All right.
I like to stir the pot a little bit.
All right. So we talk a little bit about music on this show. Probably every episode, right? I mean, there probably hasn't been one that we haven't. Billboard or the iTunes or Spotify music chart?
I think I've listened to the same music since I was a kid. I don't really. I like new music when I hear it, but I don't actively seek it.
Okay.
Like if it's not the Pearl Jam 10 album, like it's probably not on my playlist.
Wow. He went throwback.
What? I mean, that's a good album. At least he threw it back to something that we can like be like, all right, I get that. Yeah. Extra sleep or extra time playing?
Extra time playing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm operating at this point on like 3 to 4 hours of sleep for the last week a night. So
I go through those stints, but yeah, that's not enough. Yeah.
It's not healthy, but it gets the job done.
All right. High five, fist bump, or handshake? Where do you stand?
Ooh,
I'm a high five guy.
A high five guy?
I think I'm a high five guy.
Yeah. I think during COVID I became the fist bump guy.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know why, because I'm like, it's still the same hand. It's either the inside or the outside. So why is it a big difference? But
you don't get the whole hand.
Yeah.
You just get a little bit. Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That probably does change a lot. High five, but like, yeah, COVID. I've been doing a lot more like elbow bumps.
Yeah, elbow. Yeah. Okay.
My guy.
All right, one more, and then we'll get to wrap it up. I always just think these are fun. So
no, this is a blast.
Take control or go with the flow.
I would like to say that I'm a go with the flow guy, but there's a lot of times where I'm like, you're doing something wrong. I need to take control.
All right.
I think that's what really stimulated me moving from originally a player position to a coaching position. It's like, you're doing this wrong, and now let me tell you why.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I definitely did that. No, I got a menu question. And me and Ryan have this discussion all the time.
Uh-oh.
The traditional big boys are the sliders.
That's not even... Come on now.
I'll be honest, I've not had the sliders yet.
Oh, you gotta have them.
I'm a creature of habit. It's always just give me the traditional, but I think I might have to give the sliders a try so I can answer that question.
This isn't a complaint about the size of the slider, but sliders are too small for me. I need like 4 or more sliders to make up for my one super big boy. I'm just saying.
Well, I like to eat too, so that might be an issue that I run into.
Yeah, that's my struggle with the sliders. Like, they are good. The bad boy sliders are good. But yeah, it takes too many sliders, and that's like to me, I feel like it's too much bread at times. I would rather just have that big old super big boy with the extra tartar sauce and my onion rings.
Okay, I just drew real quick.
Right.
I'm sitting here getting hungry too, and
I'm like waiting
Right.
for this. I haven't, as we were talking about earlier, and I haven't had much food in the last 2 days because I haven't been feeling 100%. But I'm even drooling talking about the onion rings and
Kicking
the
that
tartar
sickness
sauce right
real
now.
quick, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like, ooh, I'm feeling like I need some Frisches right now.
Yeah, I was playing on the King's Hammer earlier today, and we were just joking around. We were playing really well, and I was like, man, I was like, we're being fueled by Frisch's, and so like now we came up with two T-shirt ideas. I want to see what you guys think. Fueled by Frisch's. We could either make that just a hashtag or like a T-shirt or something. And then we're also joking about like, we're on that big boy energy right now. It's like it's just Frisch's.
I don't know
like
if they'll
both
get. I like that one, but I don't know that it'll get that one will fly.
I mean, it could just be like the big boy like flexing or something. Like, that'd be like
Big boy
super
energy.
cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, fueled by Frisch's totally makes sense.
It just flowed well. I was
Yeah,
like,
that one's a good one. Yeah, it's a shame that you can't do custom cars in Rocket League, like where I've seen some of the mods where people have modded some stuff, but like it would be cool to be able to throw the logo up on
Frisch's
there.
big boy on top of the car.
Yeah, it would be sweet.
Right.
That would be sweet. Yeah. So, all right. Do we have any other questions for Jared, gentlemen? As we're getting ready to wrap up, we had him for an hour, so we're approaching that hour mark. So,
how about this? Do you have any questions for us?
there you go.
Ooh. All right. So I've worked my fair share of podcasts previously. Like, how are you guys liking the transition to like as a team?
Well, I'll start if you want me. I can start.
Yeah, you go first because you always throw me up under the bus.
Usually I go,
first.
yeah, Tay. Usually, yeah, that's usually it. Yeah, hey Tay. Yeah. So I would say it was interesting for us because we didn't meet each other
like 3 weeks
like in
ago?
person until like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we had already done 5 episodes?
Yeah, 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Five episodes without even having met one another. So that transition was interesting. But I mean, overall, I think we all get along fairly well, so that's good. And we all have some different interests, and we have some similar interests. So there's ways to like, compare and contrast like what we're doing and thinking. And I think that's interesting. But I mean, you guys could probably elaborate a little bit more on that.
See, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I'll go last.
All right. I'll go. So I was gonna say I totally agree with Ryan what he was saying. It was interesting, not meeting one another and working together like that. That went super smooth. I think we're all kind of used to it. Just like, I mean, all 4 of us used to playing with people online that we've never met and stuff like that. And so it almost becomes like a second nature to us. Whereas maybe people outside like the gaming world, that might be like, might be a little different. They might be a little bit more introverted and they'll shy and stuff like that. But I would say the most interesting part for me has been like starting this podcast and like the timing of it. Because like the gaming world has been kind of dry in the last 365 days. And even like now, like, I mean, if you think about what games have been like hyped up, I mean, beginning of the pandemic, there was Animal Crossing. Then there was that one, I don't even remember the name of the game. Fall Guys. I'm just trying to think of like big games. Then Among Us. And then like what was after that? I mean, Cyberpunk was one.
Yeah,
we
didn't start in a time when there was a lot like coming down the pike. So it was an interesting time to start. You're right. I didn't even really think about that. But we had so much because we didn't know each other.
Right.
Like we had so much to talk about.
There's more character development in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, very
well.
Very.
We even did that in the last episode, like last week. Or 2 weeks ago, we were talking more about like stuff that we played when we were younger and kind of
right,
going back and stuff and what was interesting. So
I'm hoping E3 is killer. and like gives us a lot to look forward to, and slowly working our way into the fall. And
Yeah.
Because like now that you mention it, like the last year and a half, it feels like most of the hype generated in the gaming community is about patches or DLC or expansions than it has been full releases.
Yeah. Or which season of whatever, right?
Right.
Like whole season 7 of Fortnite has Superman. Like,
Right.
dude, I love me some comic book characters in that game, so I'm all about picking that up. But Tay, what are your thoughts to answer?
Yeah. Well, me, it really went smooth, you know, because I'm the kind of jump off the porch guy, the crazy one. And then we actually meet in person and realize I'm the shortest one in the bunch. You know,
that was pretty funny, wasn't it?
I was like,
he's looking around like, wait, what?
Right? Like, yeah, I'm the small old dude. Okay, yeah. No, but it was definitely cool, man. Definitely brothers from another brother. So it's like the more we go along, it's like the tighter we get, and the more we get to learn each other. So it's definitely been a fun experience.
And we've got photos from a photo shoot coming soon.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I was told today that we should be seeing those very soon. So we did some fun stuff the day that we met was just a photo shoot, actually.
Yeah.
So we just got together at the office and did a quick little photo shoot. It was fun. So
my computer's in need of a new wallpaper, so that's good.
Right? I cannot wait. There's one photo in particular that is definitely going to be my wallpaper, but I don't want to spoil it for when we put it out there. But I can imagine which one is going to be yours, Mark.
Yeah, and we'll see. Honestly, like I'll have to look through them all. I'm like low key like taking pictures myself. Like I went to a wedding on Monday and we took like over 1,200. I wasn't even the wedding photographer. I was just, a friend with a camera. So like I'm going to probably be like looking through each one of those and be like find like my favorite. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying the podcast work. You got a great dynamic, tons of fun to watch. So to feel like the other side of the spectrum, the other side of the window is all hunky dory, like that's a feel good moment.
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
they should see what we say off camera. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's like with anything, we've had some bumps in the road. We don't completely sugarcoat it. It has those moments where we're like, okay, we need to do this or that, or should we have done this way or that way? And you just kind of learn from it, right?
That's life, right?
Yeah,
like that's right. Taking on a new craft and learning it together. Like that's part of it.
And we each all have different ideas on how certain things should go or how we can make things better or what we can do. And there's an intern working with us now to help us with some of the other pieces of our production stuff, which is nice. He's done a great job. To try to get us kind of all in looking pretty and get the YouTube up. And dude, I need to look pretty. This face is the face for radio. Like we've had this discussion before. Like if this was not a video podcast, like people would enjoy the audio podcast much better, I think, than looking at my ugly mug. So
I'm gonna let you live for something.
No,
I'm just ready for the world to open back up so we could get out and travel and do shows on the road. Definitely.
Yeah. I think you were doing live remotes would be cool.
Yeah.
I've got a two-person mixer. I could always just sit back and produce while you guys, chat it up or whatever and do like.
He always wants to sit back.
Dude, I don't always want to sit back, but I like the production side. Like I'll be honest, Scoot, that's my favorite part. Like my favorite part is the production side of it.
No, touch some more onion rings. It's okay.
Yeah, I get my own. We'll be fine. But yeah, there's a lot of learning, as you go, and we're obviously three different people with three different backgrounds, different experiences, so that plays into it as well. So. Man, it makes for an interesting dynamic, and we have fun doing it. I think so. I'll keep at it as long as these two want to keep doing it, and Game Day and Frishes are on board. Keeping us going.
We roll until the wheels fall off. That's how
Right? That's right.
All righty. Shout out again to Game Day and Frisch's for having us back on here for our 7th episode.
Yep.
Can you
Shout
believe
out
it's
to
7
Scoop.
already?
Yeah.
Time's flying, man. Like,
Yeah.
already second week of June.
I had to double check today when I was putting the stream together, and I was like, "Wait, is that really episode 7? Am I right?" Like, yeah, it's been fun.
All
Well,
right.
fellas, as we say, peace, peace, peace.
I'm waiting for. I'm waiting
I
for
was
Mark.
like,
I can't hit the button to do the show close until Mark waves.
Right,
It's
yeah,
part of-
Mark,
there we
do the
go.
wave.
All right, we'll see you next time. All
I'll wait
here
for
in
now.
here in
Do, like,
2 weeks. Oh, wave like that. All right, in 2 weeks we'll be back for another show. Jared, thanks for
Yes.
hanging with us tonight. We appreciate you. Everybody, check out Team Frisch.
Yes.
Don't
Big
forget.
shout out to Team Frisch.
Big shout out Team Frisch at Team Frisch on Twitter, Team Frisch on TikTok, and Team Frisch's on Instagram. So be sure to check them out. They're doing some sweet stuff, and we'll be following and retweeting and keeping them on our radar as well. Again, thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.
Peace.